I'm Austin.
I'm Diana.
And this is the Husband and Knife podcast, where we discuss horror classics, new releases, and pretty much whatever we want. Today we're going to be talking about Orphan First Kill, the new prequel to Orphan.
I think something's going on with Esther.
Is there anything you want to tell me about your time away?
How's that possible? 4 years ago, she was still drawing stick figures.
Esther's behavior has been so erratic.
Hello, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. I know,
Mommy. So, we just wanted to announce that we're also doing a new schedule for our podcast. Instead of every week, we're going to do episodes every 2 weeks, still on Sundays, just to balance out our schedules a little bit more. So, so.
All right, so we just, with like 5 minutes ago, finished watching the movie. And
First impressions,
there was a lot. There was up and down.
A lot was going on in this movie.
It was
about an hour and 30 minutes with a little bit of change in there, and I just feel like it went so fast. Like, it was, I didn't even realize we were sitting there and watching it for that long because it felt so short.
It was rushed.
It was a little bit.
Just when we get to the end.
First impressions still.
First impressions. We'll see. I could break it down to like 4 parts where I have 4 different opinions.
Just say it in like a sentence. In commas.
There might be semicolons, commas. I don't know. Beginning, comma, then. Okay, then, comma, wait. You see, I don't even know.
Just say it how you'd say it.
It was...
Beginning, okay.
It was a mess in my head. It was a mess to me. That's the best way I could put it.
I feel like the first movie was just so much better paced and just so much... I just like the first movie better, and I feel like a lot of people will think the same.
Well, the first one, the big twist is obviously that
surprise
that she's a child.
Yeah, Esther.
And the whole movie.
No, Esther's an adult.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Not a child. She's not a child.
Yeah.
And the whole movie, it's like there's like she's weird like the whole time. So you're like what's
something suspicious about her.
Yeah, there's something weird going on, and then bam, they hit you with it. And
there's no hints whatsoever at the twist in the first Orphan.
Yeah.
So when you were watching it, because I had already seen it before we watched it for the first time about last year, maybe a little more than a year ago. So it was really hard for me to keep my mouth shut around Austin as we were watching it, because I was like, oh, he's good. And I remember watching for your reaction for certain things, like trying to see what you would find suspicious, because I was wondering like how you would react to the twist. So it was really fun for me to like watch you kind of figure it out for yourself, and I don't think you saw it coming. Did you see it coming?
No, and in this one they obviously if you're watching this one, you probably know what happened in the other one. And they tell you right away what's going on. So they don't really have that to hit you with. They don't really have that to hit you with later on. And the twist that they do end up giving it was just not anywhere near as
punchy,
crazy or like impactful at all. It was kind of just like okay.
So there is a twist in this movie, but it's not as hard hitting as the original Orphan. So I'll go a little bit with my first impressions, then we can finally talk about the movie. I didn't want to watch this movie because the first one is so, I don't want to say perfect, but it's just so well done and you just can't replicate it. So to continue the story even more, or expand upon the universe, it just doesn't, it's not going to hit as well as the first time around. So, but I don't know. I would give it a C.
I'd give it a D-.
Yeah, it's not. It's
maybe an F.
It didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen.
No, like there was no like. When I first saw a trailer for this, I was like, "Why?"
Why? Yeah.
First of all, I was like, "Why are they making this?" And then I was like, "What could they do? What like why?" I don't care about who Esther was before this.
So I was just reading some trivia for it, and basically this question this movie answers a big question / plot hole that lots of like fans or just viewers of the first movie noticed, which is how the hell did Esther get to America from Estonia? So basically this movie just like kind of answers that and spoon feeds it to you how it happened. We didn't need to know that.
After I watched Orphan, not one part of my brain was like, well, how did she get here? No, if that was not on my mind at the end.
Because you just suspend your disbelief for something that small. I'm just not that nitpicky, I guess. So I see what they're trying to do, but
they did it terribly.
Yeah.
So now the first thing I'm going to say is...
So, we're going into the summary now.
No, the first thing I'm going to say is, I don't know the actress's name, but
Isabel Fuhrman.
Why was she cast to play this character?
She did a good job.
Well, the problem is not in the performance. It's in the fact that she is 25, and she's supposed to be playing someone that looks like they're 10. Obviously, when the movie came out when she was just a little bit older than 10. She was like 12. So, like, clearly she is a child. So, like, okay, you can believe that this child actress is playing someone that's supposed to look like a child. But, like, the whole movie, all I see is, like, an adult. And, like, at first it was...
It's really hard to get over.
At first I was like, I can't... I know I'm not going to like this. Like, that was my first thought in the first trailer. I was like, I'm not going to like that. Yeah. But, I mean, I accepted it.
Well, she just has a look to her... Like, her performance in the first movie was, like, so... Like, yeah, she was a little creepy kid, but, like, she was a kid. Like, it was so much more believable. Obviously, yeah, because she was the age.
Because she was a kid.
Yeah, she was a kid. And so in this one, like, every time, grown-up Isabel Fuhrman, she, like, looks at you with, like, big eyes and they're hollowed-out cheekbones. And it's just, like, so obviously someone who's older.
How old was she supposed to be? 10?
She was supposed
12?
to be at least a year or so younger than... She was an orphan.
Well, I don't know. Well, they did talk about her being 6 at one point when the family was together. And this is
plus 4.
Plus 4. So she's at least 10 years old.
Yeah.
Well, Esther would be at least 10 years old. Probably like 11.
Like the real Esther.
She's probably, I just say 11.
Yeah.
She's probably supposed to be 11. And if you saw her face...
You would know. And I don't know. So you just kind of have to go into it... having to accept that, especially if you're coming off watching the first movie. It's such a difference.
Like, that movie was so like...
Well, her face is just... She's grown up.
She's an adult human.
She's like us. Like, I don't look anything like I used to. Yeah, if anything, I'm more impressed that she looks a lot like she still does. Like, obviously she's more grown up, but, like, I've changed a lot since I was 10. Or 11.
Well, I don't know what her face normally looks like, so I don't... Did they do, like, any, like, editing to her face?
So I read, and the 2 facts I found, so I guess these trivia websites aren't all that credible, but apparently they used a lot of practical effects, but they also digitized her face a little bit to de-age her. So I guess it was a combination of both. But the one thing that you were curious about that I wanted to save for the podcast was you were curious about how they made her look so short. So she's like in real life, the actress is like an average grown-up person height. But so in the shots in this movie where they're like where she's standing next to another adult, the adult actors are actually the other actors are actually wearing really tall platform boots.
Really?
Yeah, I have a picture of it. I'll show you, but it's really cool.
Oh, that's really cool.
So there's some like cool, like there's integrity in this movie. It's not all bad. Like it's not by any means. I don't think it's a horrible movie. It was entertaining.
I will never watch it again.
But it's just not as...
I would not recommend anyone to watch it.
No, I would recommend I would recommend you to watch it just for the fact of, continuing, not that you need to continue the story, but just to see kind of what they do with it if you're at all curious. If it's not something you're interested in, then don't watch it. But if you are even just a little bit curious, just give it a shot, I guess. Because I didn't want to watch it that much either, but then I was like, I guess I'll try it out just because I'm curious.
Yeah, I didn't want to watch it. The only reason I wanted to watch it was for the podcast.
Yeah, like the Orphan is like a movie you could watch. I think you could watch that more than once and still be like, wow, I can't believe they did that twist. Like, you'll obviously know the twist.
But it's just a very good movie.
So you'll watch it. It has like a rewatchable quality to it. This one I'm not gonna, maybe later, but no.
Never.
Yeah. So
how it starts is there's this. So it's in Estonia, obviously, where her name's Lena, not Esther. Esther is the fake name, of the child that she pretends to be. But so it starts off. It's in Estonia at this like mental asylum.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's some sort of institute for
mentally ill
for
people.
patients. Yeah.
But so there's this lady who seems like she's supposed to be a prominent character, but it does not end up being. She's like a psychological, like she does like art therapy.
Yeah.
And so they go in, and then apparently this Lena character, who we don't know who Lena is at the beginning, and so apparently Lena is out of her cell,
and she's very dangerous.
She's most dangerous. So they put this art therapist in this room and say, hide here until we find her, even though they don't check the room for Lena. And I questioned that right as they put her. I was like, are they not going to check for Lena? And guess what? Lena's in there drawing. It's Esther. So she, remember her from Orphan. She likes to draw. She's very good at drawing. Yeah. So the art therapist is like, oh, do your parents work here? And then Lena doesn't like it. Apparently when when people say, are you a kid? So then she's about to stab this art therapist with a pencil, but then the doctors come in and save the art therapist, who is now terrified. Yeah.
So should we fast forward to when she escapes? Some stuff happens in between.
But not much. The security guard brings her something.
Well, okay, this I thought was a little creepy because the security guard is like kind of perverted because obviously, Lena is presenting as a little kid.
Even though she's 30 in this movie.
So this security guard is really perverted and it's just, it's gross. But anyway, Lena somehow tricks him into... he goes inside her cell,
which makes
not her cell, her room,
which makes no sense.
Especially if if you're the security guard and you know that she's dangerous. Like even if you were into little kids, that's just...
it's not worth. I don't understand what this. Let me just say that
I wouldn't do that.
This institute is horribly run.
Yeah,
horribly run because she kills the security guard, and then she starts to make her escape, and she's like sneaking through, and there's this lady. What's her name? Idka. Idti.
She's like psycho. Obviously,
she's also crazy, and she's also very dangerous and attacking.
She's feral.
She's like crazy, but apparently they let her just like walk around and pretend to like sweep or whatever.
Yeah.
And so Lena says, "Hey, there's another security guard at the door," and the security guard sees Lena, and Lena's got to get past the security guard. So she says, "Idki, you want some candy?"
And then she she
kills the security guard, and Lena gives her the candy. Yeah. She does give her the candy, so she got what she earned, but then Lena escapes.
Yeah, and then she ends up following the art therapist to her home and basically kills her.
And then uses her computer to look up missing children.
Yeah, around the age range of 9 to 12, I think.
And she scrolls through and she finds one that looks very similar to her.
Yeah.
Like someone that in 4 years could become her.
Yeah.
Because that's how long this child had been missing, Esther. And then she goes to a park, a police officer finds her, she says she's Esther, and then bam, they bring her home to the home in quotation marks to the United States.
Which, okay, if the makers of this movie wanted to solve the problem of how the hell did Esther go to America from Estonia, there's still lots of holes because Esther needs to go through a really rigorous immigration process.
Well, no, because she's from America.
Well, yeah, but
so they just bring her back.
Everything in this movie, things just sort of happen And there's, I mean, not that in other movies you need to be spoon-fed everything, right? But like things in this movie just kind of happen, and you just kind of are forced to go along with it, even if they don't make sense. And hardly anything in this movie makes sense, so it's a lot more obvious that things just kind of happen for the convenience of like pushing the plot along. And it's rushed. I think it's rushed.
Well, the beginning. I thought I was like this. I like after the beginning. I was like, this movie is not going to be good. This is just off the rails already. What's happening?
Yeah.
But then it kind of settles down. Like she reunites with her family.
Yeah. So in this movie, she reunites with the family of the little girl that's missing. So this is actually like this family thinks that this is real Esther.
And so she's trying to pretend like she's Esther, and she's pretty sloppy. Yeah. And so this part of the movie I thought was good. I was enjoying this part of the movie where she's like trying to like integrate into the family. She has to go to like therapy.
Yeah.
And she's like getting along with her dad because her dad's an artist, and she likes art, even though Esther 4 years ago did not like art.
Yeah.
And in those 4 years, she went from drawing stick figures to
like a full-fledged like
portrait
Mona
of
Lisa.
The dad.
Yeah.
So, and this whole time, like, though there's another son in the family named Gunnar.
Yeah, Gunnar. Oh.
And so he's a fucking dick.
Yeah, we don't like Gunnar.
He's a dick. So I'm like, why are you being such a dick?
Yeah, he's so cold-shoulder-ish.
Why are you being a dick to your sister who you just figured out was found after 4 years?
Like, there's a part in the movie where the mom and dad have to go to some sort of gala or whatever, and Gunnar's, like, supposed to watch her, and he's just like, F you, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends. And he's such a douchebag. He fences, and he wears like little sweater vests, and he's just such a prissy.
They're very rich. This family's very rich.
Yeah, this family's very rich.
And so he's a rich white boy.
Yeah, so he leaves her to hang out with his friends, and I'm just like, dude, like if your sister's been missing for 4 years, you might want to like hang out with her. But I guess later on we find out why he doesn't care so much about
Yeah,
her.
when we get to that.
We'll get to that.
And so this whole time, the police officer Donahan, it's Donan, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Or
like
Danon. I don't know.
he's kind of sus.
Yeah, he's the one who is helping the family look for Esther, like working on Esther's case. So he's suspicious because, I don't know, it's some sort of policeman intuition.
Well, lots of people are because the therapist is concerned about Esther being so different. The
family sends her to a therapist just because they are bougie enough to have a child therapist. But
so then the officer is like following around. Then he comes to the home, and Esther can tell that
he's onto her.
Yeah. So she goes to his house to kill him.
Yes.
And the mom comes home and figures out that she's gone.
Before that even happens, Esther. So the detective steals something from the house that has Esther's fingerprints on them, and he goes home to his own apartment and like matches the fingerprints of the real Esther to this fake Esther, Lena, and they're not at all matching. So he knew from the start, and now his like suspicions have been validated, but he gets stabbed by Esther.
Yeah, Esther starts stabbing her in the back, and so I was like, why are they already finding out that Esther? This is only like 20-some minutes into the movie, or 30-some minutes. It's not very far into it. So I'm like, how are they already figuring out Esther is not Esther?
Yeah.
And so like she stabs the police officer. He's on the ground bleeding out. And all of a sudden, someone shoots him in the head. And it's not Esther. It's Esther's mom.
Yeah. What the hell? Trisha! Julia Stiles.
So I was like, why is she shooting her? And apparently, she knows it's not Esther. And the reason is because Esther's mom, Trisha, and Gunnar killed Esther 4 years ago.
Yeah. Well, she knows it's not Esther because
Esther's dead. She buried Esther.
Well, yes, but
that's why she knows it's not Esther.
Yeah,
She's been playing along the whole time because the dad doesn't know that Esther's dead. He thinks Esther's missing, so she's pretending because she doesn't want him to know that Esther was killed by his son and her, and he's very happy that she's back, and she likes that he's happy,
Yeah.
but it's mostly to cover her ass.
And if we're so scattered with this reveal, it's because we were also just like, what the hell is happening? Like, it kind of just... And the reason why I forgot that the reason why that Julia Stiles doesn't know knows it's not Esther because she killed Esther is because right before Julia Stiles finds Esther at the detective's apartment, she opens Esther's diary, and like that's like a red herring to you as the audience to be like, oh, Julia Stiles knows the truth that that's not Esther, but actually the real reason is she knows it's not Esther because she killed Esther.
Yeah.
So
They don't really come to an agreement, but they're kind of forced to come to an agreement to have Lena keep playing along as Esther, because if she doesn't, then Trisha's gonna call the police and say this isn't Esther, this is some runaway from Estonia, but then Esther would be like, yo, this lady killed her daughter. That I'm not Esther because Esther's dead because this bitch killed her. Yeah, this bitch and her son killed this girl.
So it's like a lot of like, I got you, but it's like Spider-Man, Spider-Man.
Yeah, they get.
So let's pause a little bit and let's just take a second to take in this twist and how ineffective it was and how anticlimactic it was and how mostly we were just like, what? Why is this happening?
I don't think it was the idea is a dumb twist. I think that the entire execution...
Yes, because, I mean,
it happened
Julia
so early.
Stiles' character, she's not, like, when this twist is revealed, Trisha is, like, such a cold, like, venomous, like, her character just turns upside down, because the whole movie you think, oh, she's, like, a sweet mom, she's, like, concerned about her kid, but actually it turns out she's this, like, psychopath who, covered up her little girl's death and has been lying to her husband just to save her son. So it's just like, so it comes out of nowhere, and it not in a good way like in the original Orphan, where like all of this momentum was building up, or all of this tension was building up, and then the reveal happens.
Yeah, because that was at the end. This is like... This is in the first act.
Yeah, a second act, but it just doesn't feel like... I mean, I look at Julia Stiles and I just don't think she could do anything wrong, so maybe that's me, but like, she doesn't... It's not convincing. Like, it's not really convincing.
It was just rushed, like, hey, this is what... It was just too early. There was no build. There was, like, no build. There was no point where you were like, this mom's acting kind of weird. You weren't... The only thing you were like, is like, how does she not notice this isn't her kid?
Yeah.
So it was really kind of the opposite.
But then, Esther has, like, a safe, like, she's got a little bit of a... I don't know if alibi is the right word, but, like, the things that she forgets that she's supposed... The things that she forgets that she's supposed to remember if she really was Esther, they're forgivable because she's been in Russia... She's been in Estonia for, like, 4 years. So, there's, like, trauma.
She has an accent, and they say that's because her speech was still developing, so that's why she has that accent, because she was there while her speech was developing.
And
so
there's trauma, like amnesia that comes from trauma, probably, and just lots of reasons why, that she could either be suspicious and really not be Esther, or she could be really Esther and just going through a lot psychologically, especially because she was in Russia for the last 4 years of her life. So I think that the movie did that really well, where it's like, oh, it's kind of smart, because then it's believable if Esther, like if Lena fucks up and, misremembers something because she's been away for all this time. So, but yeah, so that's the one element of it that I liked. But
well, because I was enjoying it up to this twist, and then at the twist for a little bit, I was like, this is terrible, I hate it. But then I just accepted the fact that I was like, this is the twist, this is what's happening.
They run with it. They really do.
So I'm just going with it.
And not only does Julia Stiles know, she tells her son, she tells Gunnar, and Gunnar is in on it too. So like everyone in the house except for Alan, the
poor
dad. knows the whole shindig. Like, Esther knows that, Esther knows that the real Esther is dead. And obviously Gunnar and Trisha know that that's not the real Esther.
Another thing I just remembered about the dad, and I want to throw it in, is so Lena, she was in love with the dad in the original Orphan.
Oh yeah.
But so in this one, she's like in love with Alan, the dad, and it's just like the other one's like she comes on at the end and does this. This one, it's just like right from the start. You're like, oh, so she must keep falling in love with these.
She likes these dilfs, man.
Yeah, she keeps like, and so, but it's like so poorly done. She just is like, oh, he's like, it's just like.
Well, I don't know if poorly done. It's just because
it's just thrown in there.
It's just because Alan is like the most bland character.
Well, he is very bland, but like. There's like it's just like thrown in there like she's doing this, but randomly she's in love with him too.
Well, they bond over art
for like 4 seconds, and then she's like, "This is the man for." She walks into the studio and is like, "This is my new husband."
Yeah.
Like it's just like kind of thrown in there like, "Hey, remember the other one when she was in love with the dad? Yeah. She's in love with this dad too."
Yeah. So I mean. This movie was, it did something interesting for me that the first movie didn't, where I found myself kind of not siding with, but like sympathizing with Esther a little bit because, well, she spent her whole life. I don't know why she was in the mental institute.
Because she tries to kill people.
Oh, okay. That's right. Well,
that's right. Well, she's a murderer.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, like, just imagine being like 32 and like treated as a child forever, and you get your life taken away from you because people, well, you're crazy, but like, people don't take you seriously. You can't be in love with someone who's like, the person who you like will never see you as someone equal to them because you appear as a child. So like I guess like I sympathize with her, and there are like elements to her character that like you really you kind of just like humanize her a little bit. And in the first movie, like, you think she's a kid, so it's like, you empathize with her in that way. So, but in this movie, it's more like Esther is just trapped, and I think that she has like, am I an Esther apologist?
Yeah, because like the whole time,
I'm no way justifying her murders.
They did not give you time to say, oh, she can't be in love with older people, because they just kind of just threw it in there.
Yeah, that's something that I just picked up myself because I just analyzed that way.
Yeah, but while you're watching it, you don't think that because it's just kind of like random.
Yeah, if they had delved deeper into Esther in this movie as a character versus just like, you can throw her in with another family, but there just could have been so much more time to develop her more, because in the first movie we kind of see her through the lens of the mom, Vera Farmiga, and it's like, okay, you've got the mom's perspective, so you are suspicious of Esther. This one, you're Esther is basically your first person point of view, so you're kind of just like, viewing it through her experience. So I wish that the developers, I wish that the producers kind of took opportunity to, just flesh her out more as a character. And
they did not flesh her out at all. All you get in the movie
which is a waste.
All you get in the movie is that she wants to kill people.
Yeah.
And she's like crazy. That's all you get.
Yeah.
Where were we at the plot?
Yeah. Well, I don't remember.
So they find out. So the twist happens. They find out.
Yeah.
We find out that the Esther's actually dead. And so for the next 30 minutes, it's kind of just like a feud between Esther and Gunnar and Trisha. Like we have to keep this together, but they are all just really mean to each other. No one really wants to go along with it. They kind of just have to.
It was a horrible idea.
Yeah. So the plan, like usually in movies when like a plan like this happens, it kind of like goes like they're kind of figuring out, it's kind of going smoothly, then it falls apart. And this one, it falls apart from the beginning. It's
never good.
Lena tries to push them in front of a train. She steals the mom's car and goes on like a joyride, and they get pulled. They try to kill each other a couple times.
Yeah. Well, when Lena steals the car, Alan is away at an art gallery show at this point in the movie, right? And Lena steals the car. She runs away and she steals the car. But she gets the Trisha calls the cops on her, but she doesn't tell the police officers that that's not Esther. She just keeps going along with it because why? I don't know why.
Because she doesn't want to get in trouble. Because clearly, Lena. First of all, Lena knows where the body is.
Oh. Because that's where they hid the detective. So
yeah, which I didn't even know they were hiding the detective. It was kind of just thrown in there, like there was like voiceover. That was a really just kind of like it just kind of like sped through that. It was that was just a sped.
So I guess I understand why Trisha wouldn't tell. But again, whose word are they going to believe? Are they gonna
but if Lena's like, I can show you where the body is, what are they going to be like? We're not going to let you try.
I guess.
As a police officer, obviously you're going to want to say, okay, show us where the body is.
Yeah.
And first of all, and also the mom shot the police officer, so they find the police officer that the mom shot anyway. So really, the only choice they have is to go along with it, even though it doesn't work at all. At one point, then the mom poisons some mac and cheese for Lena. But then Lena doesn't want to eat it, and so she goes upstairs. There's a random mouse that she's friends with.
Yeah.
Don't know why she's friends with the mouse.
It's a metaphor.
It's a stupid metaphor. So she like gives the mac and cheese bowl to the mouse. That sounds so weird, but she gives the mac and cheese bowl to the mouse, and then later she finds the mouse after some more fighting and arguing. It's really just fighting and arguing for a long time. She finds the mouse dead, and so she's like, oh shit, Mummy tried to poison me.
So maybe the reason why she tried to push... Was that the reason why she tried to push them into the train?
No, that was beforehand. That's why they decided to...
Yeah, they just tried to kill each other.
Yeah, it wasn't even like, oh, they're butting heads for a little bit. It was like immediately, let's just kill each other.
Yeah.
It was just immediate, like, let's just kill... Like, she's like, we gotta go with this plan. You gotta pretend to be Lena. And then the next scene, they're all trying to kill each other. So, like, it's not even, like... The plan never really happens at all. So then, after Lena that finds out that Trisha tries to kill her, obviously, Lena wants to get her back. So she's making crepes, she says. She's making breakfast, and then she tries to give the mom a smoothie with a dead mouse in it.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Mummy, drink it. And then she's like, oh, no, thank you, because Trisha knows that this is not going to end well. And so the dad's like, no, you should drink it. Or he's like, I'll drink it. And then Lena's like, no, I made it special for Mummy. So Trisha takes a little sip, and then she dumps it out, and then a rat gets dumped out. The mouse gets dumped out.
Yeah. So, but... I guess we can fast forward then to the final act.
Let me just say, the ending of this movie, I cannot think of off the top of my head an ending to a movie worse.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
It wasn't very good.
It was like...
It was rushed.
It was like, it could have been a 15-minute scene, and it was like 4 minutes.
So what happens is after... so... It's Esther and Trisha and Gunnar.
Because the dad's gone.
Because the dad's the dad's at an art gallery show.
Another art thing, yeah.
And so Trisha and Gunnar just kind of decide, okay, that's enough. We're gonna kill Esther, and we're gonna try to make it look like she
killed herself.
Because Trisha was telling the police officer who brought her back. After she went on the joyride with the car, like, you know, Esther's been really erratic, and she's talking about killing herself, things like that. Just, you know, kind of saving her ass if anything were to happen to Esther, or Lena, I should say. So, Trisha and Gunnar are trying to hold her down so that they can
cut her wrists
and kill her. But then Esther spits on Trisha, and she's so vapid that she cares about it more than like just going on with it. And she
hits Gunnar in the stomach or balls.
Yeah, so she runs away. Gunnar basically pushes her down the stairs, but then she disappears. And there's a point where it's just Gunnar, and he's got his little fencing sword. What's it called? I don't know. Your rapier? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it might be called. I don't know. Whatever it's called. He's got his little... but it's like cut off and like sharpened into a point for stabbing.
Yeah, so they end up in the dad's studio, and they talk for like a few seconds before Esther reveals that she has a crossbow, and she shoots Gunner and like stabs Gunner.
Probably the coolest part of the movie.
Yeah, that is probably the coolest part of the movie, because any kill with a crossbow is cool.
Well, yeah, because then she grabs the sword and stabs him to death.
Yeah.
And then Trisha comes in and is like, oh, you killed Gunner, even though she killed her own daughter before. So
yeah, what the hell?
I don't know where she's
is Gunner
getting
the favorite?
Clearly, that's the one that wasn't murdered. But yeah. So then the fight ensues between Trisha and Esther.
And it is like the lamest chase
I've
ever seen.
Well, first they're fighting in the kitchen.
That's kind of cool.
And then somehow in the fight, I think they brushed up against the stove. So the stove got turned on, blah, blah, blah. Classic, house is on fire now.
How does the house set on fire?
Because they like
the
not...
stove being on?
Well, the stove it's a gas stove. So there's the flame. And then like some things, like curtains or something got knocked onto. Just like whatever happens in every movie. And so they're on a chase. So Esther's upstairs and Trisha's got her cornered. She's like, I'm going to kill you. And then Esther just jumps out the window. And
she's like, psych!
It's just that she's on the roof, and she starts climbing. And then Trisha follows. The house is on fire during this. And it is the most...
It's a quick fire.
It is the slowest, most boring. They're like climbing up the shingles, but it is so slow.
Well, it's like a 40-year-old
so
and like a 30-year-old trying to climb up. They're unathletic.
It's like... So like you're watching it and you're not like, it's not like usually like something's on. They made me think like in The Lion King when Pride Rock's on fire and they're like running through there. There's
a sense of urgency.
There's urgency. It's like intense. In this one, the house is on fire and they're just like, it's just so you're like, okay, they're climbing. It's just like, what is...
Which is interesting because I remember in the first movie, there's the final fight scene between the mom and Esther is like really intense.
It's very, like they're like breaking through the glass and stuff.
Yeah, the climax is really amazing in the original movie. So when you go to this one, it's like, okay, what are they going to do?
Well, then at this time, the dad gets home too, and he's like, call the in the blandest Allen voice possible, call the fire department. He's so bland. I cannot even get over how bland this character... I feel bad for him because he's being duped by his family.
Yeah.
But dude is bland. It's like spreading like breadcrumbs on bread.
It's so funny because Trisha's like so in love with him. She's like, oh my god, he's so happy. He's happier than ever before. And it's like, are you serious?
Yeah, and so Alan's home. He runs through the house and he gets to the roof and sees them. They're like hanging. So they were climbing and now they fell and now they're hanging on for dear life. And Alan has
on
to
like
choose
pipes or whatever.
Yeah,
or
on the gutter. And so Alan has to save his wife or his daughter.
Who would you save?
And so he goes to save Esther because that's his daughter. He thinks it's his daughter, so he tries to save her.
Damn.
And so Trisha falls. Bam! Her head hits the sidewalk.
Yeah, which is a cool effect.
So she's dead, and then randomly.
Okay, so Gunner, Trish, Esther and Alan, they're hugging because Alan's like, "Oh, I'm so glad
and she's
you're
like
safe."
Squeezing his face. And
He's squeezing
her face, and like you just see her like lips. Like,
well, before that hilarious
so
part, she's still trying to play it off like, "Oh, mom tried to hurt me" or whatever. But like, I think that just gets brushed under because we are like Alan. What Alan ends up doing is like, because I guess when you just save someone's life, or like when someone's in distress, you like touch their face to make sure that they're okay. So he's touching her face,
but he's doing it really fine.
He's like smooshing her,
like smooshing her face, like, and you're just seeing like her. It's not like they like briefly show. It's like 5 seconds of him like smooshing her face. And he
smooshes it so hard that Esther's fake teeth, her fake upper row of teeth, just pop out. And then it's like, holy shit.
And then I kid you not, within like this whole thing is like 3 seconds. Like they pop out, and he's then Alan the teeth pop out. Alan's like, what? And then she's like, I love you. We could be together. It's like some
crepe.
Like some crazy. We could be together. I love you. And then.
And then Alan's like, you're a monster.
You're a monster. And then she pushes him. This is like 5 seconds, all that happens.
She pushes it, and then he dies. He falls right next to Julia Stiles.
It's like fast. It's like, you don't even have time to, like it's not even like an intense moment. It's just like, teeth fall out. Huh? We're in love. You're a monster. Push, dead.
Yeah.
It's just like, what?
Yeah.
And then she just walks out of the house. First of all, she's in the house. She's like going through the house nice and slow, and she's like sitting down, changing her choker.
Yeah, that house would be like...
She's not even like coughing from the smoke that she's breathing in.
She's got that Esther strength.
Yeah, she's like in there for like a couple minutes, and she's not even like... She's like breathing in the smoke, and she's just like, whatever.
She's fine.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends with Esther at the therapist. They're trying to set her up with an adoption agency. And that's it.
And then you can assume Then you can assume a little bit. Only a short amount of time passes before actual Orphan
happens. Yeah. So final thoughts. What's something you liked about the movie?
I liked when Esther. I liked the whole part when Esther's first with the family and she's like fumbling and she's like struggling to like that part was like good. Like I was enjoying that part of the movie. It was just throwing the twist in there and just horribly doing the entire second half of the movie, more than the second half of the movie, that really just killed it. There was a solid maybe 20 minutes where I was enjoying the movie.
Yeah, and it's entertaining.
There was one part too where I don't remember what part it was, but there was some like fun music. I was like, oh, I like this music.
Oh, Maniac?
No, it was like just like a soundtrack to it. It wasn't like an actual song.
Oh, I don't know.
There was just like this, like she's like, it's when she's like first joins the family. It's like a do 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 do. It's like a little fun like upbeat classical music. So it feels a little silly for a moment, like this 30-year-old's trying to act like a child,
like a comedy sitcom.
Yeah, like that I liked that music part. It's like, wow, this 30-year-old is really trying to pretend like
it could have been a whole other movie.
10. So like there was a brief moment where I was like, you know what, this might not be as bad as the beginning showed it might be.
Yeah.
And then it stuck. So it was. I wouldn't say the whole movie's unwatchable.
Yeah, I would say it's watchable. It's not horrible, and it takes a lot for us to turn a movie off.
And like some horror movies are so bad, but like you can tell they're supposed to be bad. Like
this is not that. This takes itself very seriously.
Yeah, it's not a movie that's not. It's not like, oh, this is haha. It's like. It's taking itself seriously, but like it's just not. Yeah, it's like bad, and not a way that like you can chuckle at, like, oh, what the heck?
It's just so. It's not at all. It's not as much fun when you know the twist going into it, because there's not a lot more else that you can do with Esther. Like if you're not going to develop her psyche, it's not as much. It's not fun because. You would know that she's pretending to be a little kid, so it's like you go into it with that knowledge, and it just doesn't make it as enjoyable or interesting. Like the mystique, like is gone because like you're aware, and so you just kind of have to force yourself to follow along with whatever Esther and Trisha are doing, even though you don't want to.
Without the twist, it could. If the whole movie. If they somehow found a way to like develop her more and just make the whole movie her trying to blend in with this family, like obviously that's the same as like Orphan, like she's trying to blend in this family, but it's not from her viewpoint. It's from like the mom is like noticing all these weird things. But if they did it all from Esther's point, from Lena's point of view, and made it so we're like figuring out what she's thinking through all this, what she's trying. Because
I would have loved it
in the original one. Like, you don't see her messing... Like, you don't know she's messing up, trying to pretend to be a child, because you don't know she's a child.
Because she's already very good at it. And she's supposedly a con artist. Like, she likes to play on the fact that she's a little girl, because she can get away with anything. So it was interesting to see her in this movie. Like you said, the most enjoyable part for you was when she was messing up, because... It shows like it's a more human side to her.
Well, because she's a con artist, but I don't know if she's ever. We don't know if she's ever pretended to be a child.
Well, she did. Because...
I guess she's pretended to be a child before, just to like rob families. But the reason she didn't rob, I think the reason because there was one part she like had a stack of money and she was gonna leave, but then she looked in the window and saw Allen and then went back. So I think she stayed because she was in love with him, but it's just kind of like. Glanced over. It's like they don't.
Well, before, so she had already been with other families before, because I think the guy at the institute in the beginning, he mentioned that like she likes to pretend to be a runaway and like be in other families. So she has no prior connections with those families because she just pretended to be a runaway. So, but in this case, with her being Esther and having like the previous tie of like, I'm your daughter who like was missing 4 years ago and here I am, that leaves a lot more room for like mistakes because she does have to pretend to be someone she doesn't know anything about.
Yeah,
So.
I just don't understand why the reason she stayed was that she was in love with the dad, and they didn't do anything with that.
Yeah.
They did.
I would have loved the movie more if it, or just in general, if like we got to see her, like Esther, just kind of like unravel more and more, like keep messing up somehow until it was inevitable that she was found out by the family. Like I would have just loved for it to happen without that twist of like Julia Stiles and Gunnar being like psycho murderers.
Yeah, she should have just like, it should have gotten harder and harder for her to keep up the act, and then eventually that's why she kills them, because she can't keep the act up anymore, and she can't have them knowing, so she kills them. But the twist they chose, I don't know who wrote this movie, I don't know how long they spent on it, but they should have had some outside opinions.
Like you said earlier, the twist is good. Like it's okay. It's just not as strong as it could have been.
They did it at the wrong point. They didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, because you basically, the twist is that Gunnar and Esther were play fighting, or I don't know if he was really trying to kill her.
All Trisha says is he was a little too rough with her.
Yeah.
So I don't
know what that means. We don't know what that means.
We don't know how she gets killed. We don't know what Gunnar and Esther's relationship was like.
Yeah.
It seems like Gunnar's just a dick in general, so that was probably it. But since he knows it's not Esther, we don't know how he would act with Esther normally. So that's just like, we don't know how Esther was killed in the first place.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things they could have.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had a favorite character. I guess Esther was my favorite character.
Yeah, just because, but you also just love her because you've seen Orphan.
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen Orphan, I don't think you'd like her as much.
Yeah.
No, I still like her, I think. But not as much.
Yeah.
There's no other characters there's really only.
I liked the detective a little. Whatever.
But he was killed in like the first 30 minutes, and he was barely on the screen. The only character with redeeming qualities was the dad, and he was just plain white bread. The dude was so bland.
He made really cool art.
He was unseasoned chicken.
He was really
so
cool art.
Bland.
He made like vaporwave Tumblr art.
He made really cool art, and you think his art like glows in the dark, so it's like another picture. Like it's really cool, but the dude does not match the art.
The dude does not match. The art does not match the family.
The dude sucks. He's so boring.
Yeah.
And the only reason I kind of like him is because I feel bad that he's being duped by his wife.
Poor Alan.
His wife is pretending that this random person that she knows isn't her daughter is their daughter, just so he doesn't know.
I guess she's doing it because she wants him to be happy.
That's like the fourth reason she lists to Esther about why she's letting it happen.
Yeah. Well, both she and Gunnar are very just like self-centered people, and
we don't really know. She like runs galleries or something.
She sucks. Whatever.
It seems like she runs art. Yeah.
Vera Farmiga. I don't remember her name.
I don't remember either, but
she was better.
Yeah.
No offense, Julia Stiles, but
yeah. So the movie, there was some
solid C.
I give it a 4 out of 10.
C. Yeah, I would give it a 6 out of 10. So I guess it's a D.
I give it like an F.
Yeah.
Based on my grade. Yeah. You would think a movie as good as Orphan would have, if they're going to make something. I mean, with horror movies don't have a great track record of sequels and prequels being good. But you just...
I mean, it still had some WTF moments just for the wrong reasons.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was. There was. It does not.
But it's still, give it a shot if you want to check it out and see for yourself. I mean, what all happens.
I think it's worth watching just because the ending is so bad. You just want to.
Yeah.
That's the only thing watchable about it, is how terrible the ending is. That is the part that would make me watch it again, is just to watch the lead up to that horrible
Or
ending.
like see how badly Alan is treated. And you just feel so bad. Aww.
Yeah, the movie. It could
Alan,
have,
just go do your glow in the dark art.
They should have had like some third party come in and read the script.
But I did I liked Isabel Furman's performance. She's
Yeah,
always a great.
There was nothing wrong with the besides Alan's acting. Sorry, whoever that actor is. I think it was your script, but goddamn, that character.
They all were doing the best that they could.
I don't think the script was very good because there was not a lot of great acting moments in that movie.
Well, we're off to go watch the first Orphan probably sometime this week.
Yeah, we should have watched it beforehand.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for listening. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode because we certainly had a lot of fun recording it.
Yeah.
So don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify. Hit that notification bell.
That's on YouTube.
I thought there was one on Spotify as well. Follow us on Spotify. And we'll see you next episode.
Adios.